Alright, this is a long time coming. Malignant from director James Wan. If you're wondering, hey Scotty, why you got the DVD? Why not the Blu-ray? It's my fucking Walmart. I'm supposed to swear in the first minute of your video. I'm not getting sponsors anyway. I don't have ads anyway, but my Walmart did not have a Blu-ray for this. Not even a spot for it. I had the digital code though. Same thing with another movie I got, which I'll talk about when I review that one. But yeah, so years winding down, and as they're coming out, I'm starting to buy some of the 2021 movies and watch them so I could do for my ranking, which I think I mentioned this before, but I'm not going to be doing an end of the year ranking at the end of the year. I'm going to wait until I've seen all the movies, because I can't go to the theater and see movies like every other people have been able to. So, to be fair, I'm pushing it back till next year. I still haven't decided whether or not the last release I'm going to do is Spider-Man No Way Home or The Matrix Resurrections. Because, I don't know. I might just want to do No Way Home and just get it done. But I bought quite a few 2021 films, like 3 so far, today. Just today, because cashed my check today because stuff happened. Okay, bit of a story here. This past Friday, from when I'm recording this, a couple of weeks ago, my folks told me they were gonna go out of town for the weekend, so I have to go to their place and watch the dog. But then, like a week before they were set to go, my mom said they still weren't sure if they were going. And then we got the big snowstorm last week here in Minnesota, so they didn't go. Problem is, I already had my work, because I was going to be off that Friday, send my check in. So, that's why I didn't cash my check till today, and why I had this in my hand right up. So, Malignant. It tells the story of Madison, who, when she was a child, had an imaginary friend, and now it seems that imaginary friend has come back, but she's also having visions of murder that are coming true. So, yes. There's a lot to unload with this film. James Wan, to me, I haven't seen all of his films. I still haven't seen Death Sentence, but to me, he hasn't really had a bad film, you know? Some of his films are lacking, like Dead Silence or Insidious Chapter 2, but they're not bad. And this continues that streak, because I don't think this was that bad movie by any means, by any stretch of imagination, but it's one weird freaking movie, man. Don't go into this thinking it's going to be just a straightforward horror movie. This is nuts. I've heard that James Wan wanted to pay homage to giallo films, and oh boy, once I found that out, yeah, it shows. This, you got a gloved slasher killer, red lights. Yeah, this was a straight homage to giallo films with the twist. So there's this woman, her name is Madison. She's married to Adam from Supernatural, Jake Abel, who's a typical asshole husband character, which if you're gonna get an actor, do it. Jake Abel's a good one, he played sort of a villainous character in the Percy Jackson movies and stuff like that, so he's good. He's not in this film that long. Gets you an argument with her, pushes his pregnant wife into the wall, and that night he is murdered by something unseen. She comes down to find her husband dead, and then all of a sudden starts having dreams of random people she doesn't know getting murdered, and she finds out that they're real. And they all have a connection to her. It actually starts with a flashback with a doctor lady talking about someone named Gabriel, and they don't go in there, he'll kill you, and she's like, we need to cut out the cancer, and that's our setup. Something is going on with this Gabriel, and then we jump to present day, which, give us a year, alright? I know it technically is present day, but all these movies where they say present day, if you watch them 20 years from now, not going to be present day. It's going to be 20 years ago. So just say 2021. Or I guess this would have been 2020. This was come out last year, but who knows. But yes, and then we get the whole thing with that. And he has a sister, played by Maddie Hassan, from the short-lived, but still very good, ABC Family series, Twisted, which, if I could find the episodes for that, I'd do a short-lived, but I don't remember enough for me to do it off of memory, but I remember that being pretty good. I saw her, I'm like, where's she from? Once I looked her up, I'm like, oh yeah, she was on Twisted. That was a good show, though. But, yes, and something I was thinking, I'm like, why does she have dark hair and her sister and mom, because I've seen the commercials, why does she have dark hair and her mom and sister have blonde hair? The actress is blonde. Why put her in a wig? It doesn't make any sense. Then we find out one of the twists is that she's adopted, so, yeah, it's obvious, because everyone else in the family is blonde and she has dark hair. She starts getting phone calls from the killer, named Gabriel. She figures out, and then she goes to her mom to figure out what's going on, and they show her tapes, VHS tapes of her talking to someone named Gabriel, who apparently told her to kill her little sister when her mom got pregnant, which, whoa, awkward. But they find out that she was born, I don't remember what they said it was called, but basically it's a conjoined twin that's not, like, fully, it's, I don't know how to explain it. Like, she was born with her brother on her back, but he's not fully formed enough to be cut out and live on his own. They share one brain, and he's just like a little claw thing, and he's dangerous, I guess. His name is Gabriel. But they did a surgery where they took him out and suppressed him in her mind. And when her husband pushed her against the wall, it freed him. Now, I refuse to believe that, like, this is the first time she's been pushed or knocked down since she was a kid. She never was on a playground where she slipped, fell, and fell backwards on her head, or never played any sports or anything, or never, nothing until she was 37 years old. Did she have some kind of incident where her head got hit? I find that highly unlikely, but, who knows. But, yes, and so she has been killing, but Gabriel's taken over her body, which is why the killer moves so weird. Although, I do want to call a little bit of a bullshit here, because when we see the husband get killed, we see the shape of the killer. If it was her, like, she was pregnant, so you'd see the belly and her boobs sticking out the back, but you don't. And we're led to believe maybe she has the jacket on then, but I don't know. Maybe she had the jacket on then, I don't know, but who knows. And here's my problem with the film, is that they arrest her, right? And while she's sitting there, the killer calls. Now, she tells them about what's going on, but they don't believe her. Like, it's her invisible friend, or imaginary friend, or whatever. She doesn't know about it's attached to her yet, but it's her imaginary friend. Of course, they don't believe her, but they get a phone call from the killer, from Gabriel, while she's sitting there in front of them. And the next scene, she's locked up in, what's it called, general population, with a bunch of women. I'm like, why is she still in jail? For all intents and purposes, she's sitting there and the killer calls. She should be considered innocent. And I started to realize, and this is probably my one big criticism of this film, is that, like, she could have gone free, right? She could have gone free and been out there in the world. But the only reason why she was still under arrest is so they could have this slaughter at it's a plot device they use. They should have let her go with all logic, when someone you think is a suspect, someone who is a suspect in a murder case is sitting in front of you, and someone calls, is the killer calls, you let that person in front of you go. But no, they gotta use this as a plot device. They don't trust her still, so they keep her in general population, and we get this crazy transformation scene where these women are just like beating her up and beating the crap out of her, and then she transforms, and it's herky jerky, The Ring, the Grudge shit, and combined with the sister and the mom finding out the truth from the videotapes they got from the dead doctor, because he's been killing off the doctors that were responsible for trying to get rid of him, but takes over, kills all the women in there, and then kills a bunch of freaking cops, beats up the two main cops. There's one girl, she survives, but yeah. Before this though, or during this, whatever, the sister calls the detective guy and tells him what's going on. Of course, he's still kind of skeptical until he sees for himself what's going on. And one thing that was really a little weird was this part where she stands on a desk, or they stand on the desk, and then he walks forward though, but like backward to him, with her facing forward. But he's been walking his way before. I don't know, maybe it's faster to go that way. I don't know. There are sequences in this film that are fantastic. James Wan knows horror, and he does it well. Music by Joseph Bishara, who has been like doing his music since the Insidious films. Very, very good. There's some good, scary, creepy moments in this. And like I said, it does call back to Giallo, because you have a gloved killer with this weird kind of blade killing people, and it's a mystery. You don't know who it is. There is a lot of convoluted stuff. Oh, it's her imaginary friend. Oh, she's having dreams. She's connected to the killer. Oh, it's her imaginary friend when she's having these dreams. They're connected to the killer. She's adopted. Oh, it's her imaginary friend killing people. Oh, her imaginary friend is actually her brother, who's stuck to the back of her, and she's been doing the killing from his mindscape. Like, he's been making her do the killings. And like, we see, they say that he can force her to see what he wants her to see, so like, she's just been sitting there. Which is why we get scenes where she looks like she's running from him, but that's only what he wants her to see. So that explains to us why we see those scenes of her running from him, because that's what she sees. So I like that. But the biggest negative I have for this film is the ending. I feel like it's too open-ended. Like, James Wan just saw this and said, or was making the film and said, you know what, I could do another, that's a problem with filmmaking nowadays. It's not, I want to make this movie, it's, hey, I want to start a franchise. Because nothing nowadays comes out as just a single little film. Well, there's some, but I'm just saying, like, especially with Warner Brothers always wanting to make their own little franchises. This looks like it's setting up for sequels, and it reminds me of the Nightmare on Elm Street. She suppresses him, like she says, "Oh, I free you. You're nothing. You're shit." Like in Nightmare on Elm Street, but she's like she traps him in his mind. And he says, "I'll be back. I will. And I'll be ready for you when you do." So obviously he's not gone for good, which. They said before they can't do it because like they share the brain, and they took all the other stuff out, but the brain stays the same, because if they do that they could kill her, which I felt like the only other ending you could have done is having her kill herself, because that would make sense. And if he was just, again, this goes back to what I was saying, if he was just going to do a straight up one-off horror film, that's what the ending we would get. But because, hey, this is these are the days of, James Wan has started other franchises, we can do it again. Let's have a open ending. And I made a joke that I didn't realize actually made sense, because after she suppresses it, she wakes up, she moves the thing out and hugs her sister, and she goes, "You all, it doesn't matter if we're blood, you'll always be my sister, and I always love you." Which reminded me of Fury 7, so I went, "It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. Oh, oh." And then I went to watch a review. 3C, his review. And he showed up some of James Wan's films that I saw Fury 7 up there, and I went, shit, I forgot he directed Fury 7. Wow. Wow. Yeah. So, I made a joke about Fury 7, having forgot he directed Fury 7. So, maybe that was intentional then, I don't know. But, overall, I did enjoy this film. There's some really good sequences. It gets wacky. Apparently, the original screenings, people hated it. They laughed at the film. And it was, it was not screened for critics because of this. And the marketing wasn't very good, because all you knew from the marketing was, oh, this is an imaginary, she had an imaginary friend when she was a kid, and something is happening. There was no indication of murders. There was, you didn't know what this was about. Even I didn't know what it was about. But I will say, when it comes to Malignant, just like most of James Wan's films, not all of them, it's pretty good. So that's just the first of 3 reviews from this year that I'm going to try to do within the next couple days. Yeah, so what are your thoughts on Malignant? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.